Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our New Year's Eve celebration, broadcast here from the Temple of Light at Ananda Village in California. It's with great joy we're able to do this because it's, as we are taught, how we enter the new year could affect every day, every hour, every moment. So we want to bring in the grace and blessings of the Masters and to realize and affirm we are not alone, sort of fighting this battle of daily life to keep our energy high, uplifted, and live in joy and be channels for that. So let's begin with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar, and Paramahansa Yogananda, and saints of all religions, we bow to you all. Beloved God, beloved Spirit, we invoke your presence here this evening. Guide us in our practices, that we may uplift our consciousness, that we may attune ourselves more deeply to your ray of consciousness into this world. Inspire us. We long to know thee, to commune with thee, to merge in thee, and then be instruments for your light, for your love, and for your joy into this world. Om, peace, Amen. So before we begin, I want to say a little bit about this evening. I want to start with the talk, and then we'll move right into all of our practices. The aim of this evening is to make it experiential. There'll be some guidance along the way just to, inspire us, hopefully, and bring us into the point and the purpose of what we're doing, what that practice is all about. But for this new year, as we all know, we're living in very challenging times. And the thought forms that are prevalent all over the globe, really, is quite fearful. And people are anxious and they're worrisome. Those thought forms are very powerful. And we are affected by that. We have to do our part for ourselves to keep our consciousness uplifted and keep a sort of an aura, a bubble you might say, around us that is positive, that has harmonious vibrations, and that we can live and experience our essence, which is joy. The essence of our soul is bliss, is joy. And we want to live from that center, not only for ourselves, but it starts with you being able to access that essence within you and then be an instrument for it. And be as we have been doing on our Thursdays with healing prayers from our different centers around the world, affirm that we are warriors of the light. And a warrior of the light means we're living in the light and trying to emanate the light and be a light in this world. So in order to do that, we have to have the practices to keep us buoyed up into that, because it's very easy to contract and fall into the prevalent consciousness of today, of what's going on. So this New Year's Eve ceremony, in general, is like most of our holidays. The blessing of a holiday is that we concentrate on the featured theme of that holiday, like Thanksgiving is on gratitude, Christmas, tuning into the Christ consciousness and being, again, an instrument for the love and compassion that Christ embodied with his incarnation and example for us. And in order to do that, again, we need to access that is always within us. And as we tune into that quality or attitude, it's not just for that day or for that period. It's to awaken us and sort of reset or re-energize that quality, soul quality or attitude, so that it's a reminder that we should be living that way every day. Just as Sunday itself, weekly, was meant to be. You go to church, synagogue, temple, wherever it is that you worship, and sort of reactivate those qualities within you, and then throughout the week, you live it. It's a reminder, it's a re-energization of that. So with the new year, we want to go into the new year. The masters say that every day, every night could be like a death. Every breath could be a death, where there's an end and a beginning. So if we look at the new year this way, we want to leave behind the past, and we want to move into the new year with positive affirmation, with not with forgetting any of our past bad habits or influences that's contracting us, that's sort of not letting us be the full instrument of light that we possibly could be. That is our full potential. So Paramahansa Yogananda was very clear on it. He goes, when you go into the new year, let's affirm these qualities that is right within you. We don't have to create them. We just have to access them. So he gave us these practices. The masters, the rishis, some of these are ancient that we're going to be doing, the fire ceremony, so that it uplifts our consciousness. The new year offers us a couple things: a chance for a new start or renewed efforts. It's also a reminder that time is passing ever so swiftly, and there's no time like the present, and that we should, again, go into it like a warrior and sever those things, perhaps bad habits that have creeped in, good habits that we wanted to start that we did but kind of wavered and dissipated for us. So it's a time we could energize, reactivate, renew, recharge our life and our practices. If it's something that a good goal, like you've been wanting to start meditation, or you've been meditating but not daily, everything can be an improvement. I remember Pablo Casal, the greatest cellist I think the world has known. He's in his 80s, and a fan or a reporter, someone asked him, he said, you're in your 80s and you're the greatest cellist that ever lived, and you still practice 4 or 5 hours a day. Why is that? And he said, well, I think I'm improving. So there's always more and better that we can do. So Yogananda, he said that basically our consciousness, we're trying to live in freedom and move towards ever greater freedom. liberation of our consciousness, not be bound to this material world. He said, most people are bound by their impulses, whims, moods, habits, and environment. Those are strong forces. We need to break those and move into the light and be a free spirit. That is our potential, that is our nature. So Paramahansa Yogananda gave us a beautiful New Year's message. I want to read part of it. He said, the new year has come to greet you with new hopes, new determination, new will to achieve, new activities. In the temple of the new year, renew your reverence for the hidden power of God within you. The trails of trials and the yawning chasms of woe have been left behind in the dark night of the past. Now you are entering the daylight of a newborn hope of the new year. Cast off the coil of the decayed thoughts of the past years. Be reincarnated into vital living of the new year. Every regret for shattered hopes of success must be transformed into the joy of new achievements during the new year. Old sorrows and disappointments must be buried beneath the sepulchre of the past year. Those dark bandits of discouragement must not remain any longer to steal the wealth of your desire to succeed. So if I said to you, like before a meditation, if I said, relax your body all over totally, you would say, wow, that's hard, I can't do that. So there's practices for that. Energization, hatha yoga, some breathing. Then if I said, focus your mind one-pointedly, without wavering, say, you wouldn't be able to do that either. So there's techniques for that. More breathing. The Hangsa mantra for meditation helps you achieve that. This is what the scientific techniques are all about. So it is with this evening. We want to uplift our consciousness. If we just left right now, hopefully would, be somewhat inspired or motivated. But I don't think it would really take. These practices, the affirmations, the chanting, the mantra, will uplift our consciousness naturally, without the philosophic, intellectual description of it at all. So what we're going to do, though, for this evening is we're going to first start with the conch, and the conch symbolizes symbolizes the sound of Om, and the Om is here at the point between the eyebrows, and it's the victory sound. So when in the Bhagavad Gita, when they rode into battle, before the battle, each one had their own conch, and they blew the conch. It symbolizes victory. It also, that sound and charge of energy brings your energy up. So we'll start with the conch, and then we'll have some chanting, and then we'll do an affirmation, and then the featured event of this evening is a Vedic fire ceremony where we will chant the Mahamrityunjaya mantra 108 times and end with the ringing of the gong, bringing in the new year. So we'll begin with the conch. We'll begin with the Guru Stotra and then the hymn to Brahma. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamutim Dandvatitam Gaganasadrisham Tattvamasya Dilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvade Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunaraitam Sadgurum Tvam Namami. Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Chaseka Tvameva Tvameva Vidyam Dravenam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Thou art my mother, my father, thou art my brother, my friend, thou art my wisdom, my wealth, thou art my all, light of lights art thou.
This next chant is Thou Art My Life. Thou art my life, thou art my love, thou art the sweetness which I do seek. Thou art my life, thou art my love, thou art the sweetness which I do seek. In the thought by my love brought, in the thought by my love brought, I taste thy name, so sweet, so sweet. Devotee knows how sweet you are, devotee knows how sweet you are. He knows whom you let know, he knows whom you let know. Thou art my life, thou art my love, thou art the sweetness which I do seek. Thou art my life, thou art my love, thou art the sweetness which I do seek. In the thought by my love brought, in the thought by my love brought, I taste thy name, so sweet, so sweet. Devotee knows how sweet you are, devotee knows how sweet you are. He knows whom you let know, he knows whom you let know. Thou art my life, thou art my love, thou art the sweetness which I do seek. Thou art my life, thou art my love, thou art the sweetness which I do seek. In the thought by my love brought, in the thought by my love brought, I taste thy name, so sweet, so sweet. Devotee knows how sweet you are, devotee knows how sweet you are. He art my life, thou art my love, thou art the sweetness which I do seek. Thou art my life, thou art my love, thou art the sweetness which I do seek. In the thought by my love brought, in the thought by my love brought, I taste thy name, so sweet, so sweet. Devotee knows how sweet you are, devotee knows how sweet you are. He knows whom you let know, he knows whom you let know. Thou art my life, thou art my love, thou art the sweetness which I do seek. Thou art my life, thou art my love, thou art the sweetness which I do seek. In the thought by my love brought, in the thought by my love brought, I taste thy name, so sweet, so sweet. Devotee knows how sweet you are, devotee knows how sweet you are. He knows whom you let know, he knows whom you let know. Thou art my life, thou art my love, thou art the sweetness which I do seek. Thou art my life, thou art my love, thou art the sweetness which I do seek. In the thought by my love brought, in the thought by my love brought, I taste thy name, so sweet, so sweet. Devotee knows how sweet you are, devotee knows how sweet you are. He knows whom you let know, he knows whom you let know, he knows whom you let know, he knows whom you let know. I'll be sharing now the song God, God, God. And as many of you know, this is a poem by Yogananda. And actually, he received it while giving a lecture by St. Francis. St. Francis came to him in a vision and gave him this poem. And Swami Kriyananda put it to music. The beginning of the song is, from the depths of slumber as I ascend the spiral stairway of wakefulness, I will whisper God, God, God. And Swamiji received the melody for this song after praying to Master for inspiration, the inspiration to be able to better share the poem. Swamiji received the melody upon waking. And of course, the theme of the song is that under all circumstances, we can return our attention, return our focus dynamically to God, God, God. And on this occasion of New Year's, where renewal is so central, let us take this song within and allow the vibration to remind us to make God our central reality. From the depths of slumber as I ascend the spiral stairway of wakefulness, I will whisper, whisper, God, God, God. Thou art the food, and when I break my fast of nightly separation from thee, I will taste thee and mentally say, God, God, God. No matter where I go, the spotlight of my mind will ever keep turning on thee. And in the battle din of activity, my silent war cry will be, God, God, God. When boisterous storms of trials shriek, and when worries howl at me, I will drown their noises, loudly chanting, God, God, God. When my mind weaves dreams, dreams, with threads of memories, on that magic cloth I will emboss, God, God, God. Every night in time of deepest sleep, when my peace dreams and calls joy, joy, my joy comes singing evermore, God, God, God. Waking, eating, working, dreaming, sleeping, serving, meditating, chanting, divinely loving, my soul will constantly hum, unheard by any, God, God, God.
Let's meditate briefly. And we'll move into practicing an affirmation together, but remain in a meditative state. Focus your mind at the point between the eyebrows. This is an affirmation perfect for entering the new year. Comes from Swami Kriyananda's book on affirmations for self-healing, on success. The first line is, I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. I always wondered about that. Why leave behind our accomplishments? The failures is obvious. But even our accomplishments could be a limitation or an over-identification with that accomplishment. So that's the first line. Then, what I do today will create a new and better future filled with inner joy. So remain eyes closed, focus at the point between the eyebrows, and we're going to practice this affirmation, each repetition, more than just a few times. This is going to be an extended practice of the affirmation. So first say out loud, I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments.
I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments.
What I do today will create a new and better future. Filled with inner joy. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future. Filled with inner joy. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future. Filled with inner joy. Okay, now more in a normal speaking voice. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future. Filled with inner joy. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future. Filled with inner joy. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future. Filled with inner joy. Now more softly in a whisper, without losing any intensity of concentration. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future. Filled with inner joy. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future. Filled with inner joy. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future. Filled with inner joy. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future. Filled with inner joy. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future. Filled with inner joy. Now we'll take it inside more with mental and silent repetition. So silently. And at the point between the eyebrows, driving this thought, this affirmation into the subconscious mind, changing you on deeper levels. Silently repeat, I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future, filled with inner joy. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future, filled with inner joy. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future, filled with inner joy. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future, filled with inner joy. We'll continue this affirmation with each repetition with greater concentration and intensity, like vibration bombs into the subconscious, but also at the point between the eyebrows, awakening the superconscious power of your soul, infusing these words will do the transformation. So again, repeat, I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future, filled with inner joy. Infuse it with this superconscious power of your soul. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future, filled with inner joy. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future, filled with inner joy. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future, filled with inner joy. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future, filled with inner joy. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future, filled with inner joy. Let the power of those words, the power of the meaning, distill, enter your consciousness. Guiding you and animating you into the new year. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future, filled with inner joy. Om. Peace. Amen. Now we're going to move into the Vedic fire ceremony and the repetitions 108 times of the Mahamrityunjaya mantra. I wanted to say a little bit about this mantra before we begin. This is a very powerful mantra. It's an ancient mantra. It's a bij mantra, bij sounds, given to us by the ancient rishis millennia ago, probably chanted and recited, I would say by now, billions of times, which carries the power of those repetitions, always vibrating in the ether. And we're going to join into that, sort of a chorus, so to speak, with our own repetitions here this evening. So with this mantra, the mantra itself is Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugundim Pushtivaranam Urva rukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. For it to have deeper meaning, let me define it for you some. So Om, the sacred syllable of the universe, which is part of God, is God. The triune reality, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost in the West. Om, it's reversed in the East, Hinduism. Om, Tat, Sat. Sat is the Father, Tat is the Christ consciousness, the stillness at the center of every point in creation. And then Om, the vibration of God's consciousness that created everything and continues to create and dissolve this universe. So Triyambakam is the three-eyed Lord, Triyambakam. And the three-eyed Lord is chanted to, this mantra is for invoking Shiva. And Shiva, being the three-eyed Lord, he can see what we see, but he also can see what we cannot see. So his eyes, he has his two eyes like we do, but his third eye is always open. Ours, we get a glimpse of intuition, intuitive perception, and then it closes. His is perennially open and is always seeing the truth. And we want to invoke his power, invoke his blessing. So, Om Triyambakam. Yajamahe simply means I invoke. It's an invocation. Sugundim Pushtavarnanam. That is a prayer, essentially, to increase our good vasanas and samskaras. Vasanas are impressions, samskaras are tendencies. When we come into an incarnation, we bring a whole load of impressions and tendencies from the past, from the endless trail of past lives that we have lived. And those are a part of our consciousness. We have good and bad impressions and samskaras. We want to bring forth the good ones. And with the overwhelming power and magnetism of the good ones, the bad sort of dissipates more and more. But it's interesting, the masters say we are not safe until you are fully liberated. Become a master yourself. Because those seeds are always sort of percolating somewhere in your consciousness. So we have to be ever vigilant with our practices daily, bringing forth the good impressions and the good samskaras, so that they aren't material, and so that we are not of this world, so that they are bringing forth the spiritual tendencies within us. Urva rukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshe amamritat swaha. That line is affirming when I die, when you die, that your soul should leave this body easily, without attachment. So it's an affirmation that we want to affirm that we aren't attached to this world. Again, Shiva is the god of transmutation, and he takes our bad habits and helps us transmute it into ever more positive and uplifted consciousness. So, and then it's interesting in the translation, literally it says, so that we could leave this world as easily as a cucumber falls from the vine when it's fully ripe. Whereas if it isn't, you yank on it and you pull and it doesn't come. So as we live, so it will be, we will be at the time of death. So we want to affirm as we live daily, every moment, to live without attachment, inwardly non-attached to whatever's going on. And so that when it does come to transition, you can do so freely, without attachment to this world. Okay, so we're going to Now this mantra, the Mahamrityunjaya mantra, is said to be a moksha mantra, and it's done for healing. It bestows longevity and immortality. And when it's called a bij mantra, or beads, sounds, vibrations, mantras are stronger than prayer, stronger than affirmation. It's a formula of sound, or a sound formula. And as you chant it, and whether or not you do it perfectly or not, it's fine, but we'll improve with the number of repetitions we're doing. As you do the mantra, it's like vibration bombs that are going into your consciousness, shaking. As it says in the Bible, Joshua marched around the city of Jericho blowing the ram's horn. That was symbolic of the like blowing a conch, tuning in, activating the powerful primordial sound of Om, which is God, into whatever we're doing. And these bij sounds in these bij mantras have that kind of power. So as we chant it, it's going to transform our consciousness. So it is addressed to Lord Shiva, because he is thought to be the god of transmutation, and helps us ward off an untimely death so that we could have this longevity and ultimately be immortal beings living in the light. The Gayatri Mantra is for enlightenment, also a bij mantra, but the Mahamrityunjaya Mantra is for rejuvenation, nurturance, and sustaining us more and more deeply living in God's consciousness. Okay, so we're going to do that. So let's wherever you are, repeat after me before we start. Okay? Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sukundim Pushtavardhanam Urva Rukameva Bandhanam Mrityur Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Swaha is self. You're casting yourself into the flame. So we'll be starting this, repeating it 108 times, and I'll be throwing rice into the fire after each repetition, which is a symbol of the karmic seeds within our spine, lodged in our spine at some part of us, at each chakra, and we're going to cast those seeds into the flames to be purified and dissolved. And as I do so, Prashad will be keeping us on track, counting the mantras for us. Don't feel that this is new or foreign to you. As you do things like this, sometimes a strange thing happens. It awakens a memory. I'm sure you've done this before. And it will become more and more familiar. Ready? Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugundim Pushtavardhanam Urva Rukameva Bandhanam Mrityur Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugundim Pushtavardhanam Urva Rukameva Bandhanam Mrityur Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugundim Pushtavardhanam Urva Rukameva Bandhanam Mrityur Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityu mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshi Amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivaranam urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, mrityo mokshi amamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sagandim pushtavarnam, urvarukam bandhanam, Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtavaranam Urvarukam Bandhanam Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat Swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtavarnam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshiyamamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtavarnam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshiyamamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtavarnam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshiyamamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtavarnam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshiyamamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtavarnam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshiyamamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtavarnam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshiyamamritat swaha. Om Triyambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtavarnam urvarukameva bandhanam mrityo mokshiyamamritat swaha. Now take your hands and sweep along up the spine as if gathering all of these vrittis or samskaras and cast them into the flames to be purified. We'll do Om Swaha 3 times. Om Swaha. Om Swaha. Om Swaha. Let's take the inspiration, the spiritual power awakened within you, joined the overarching power of God and the Masters. And let's go into meditation. Focus at the point between the eyebrows. As the energy gathers and raises up the spine, opening each door, particularly the heart center, awakening the heart's natural love. Your love for God. Offer it at the point between the eyebrows. Altar of spirit within you. Offer the flowers of your devotion. Find God there. Commune with God there. Merge with God there. Om. Peace. Amen. We'll close our meditation and our evening welcoming the new year with a tradition that Yogananda started. It was December 31st, 1948, when at Mount Washington he rang the gong and instructed them to imagine it was the sound of Om, just spreading out into infinity. And he rang the gong, bringing in the new year. What's interesting is sometime later, the devotees that were in Encinitas, which is 100 or so miles away from Mount Washington, said, and they were meditating at the same time, said that they had heard the gong ringing at that time, as if someone was ringing it in the hallway right outside the door. So such is the power of the masters, of our master, Yogananda, and we'll close that way this evening. Let's close a prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar, our beloved Master, Paramahansa Yogananda, saints of all religions, we bow to you all. Divine Mother, great Masters, we thank you for your presence here this evening. Help us to go into the new year with renewed faith, knowing that Thou art with us every day. Help us to attune our consciousness with yours and bathe us in your light and bathe us in your love and bathe us in your joy, that we may be your instruments, sharing your love and light to all those whom our life touches. Om. Peace. Amen.